But we're going to look at all of this stuff, you guys, because there are so many things as it relates to just regular everyday folks getting up, going to work, doing their gig. And then we've got all these other people doing the stuff that they're doing, making it really hard for just regular folks. It's almost like the lunatics have totally taken over the asylum. I say that all the time. It's an old song. The lunatics are taking over the asylum. It was by Fun Boy 3. It's an old phrase, obviously. But Fun Boy 3 had a song back in the 80s called The Lunatics Are Taking Over the Asylum. And I'm not even sure if any of you guys really know who Fun Boy 3 is, but if you don't know who they are, you need to tune in and pull it up here on YouTube, because they're here on YouTube. Fun Boy 3, The Lunatics Are Taking Over the Asylum. That's the name of it. So with that said, I'm just going to dive in. It's not necessarily a point that we're going to, it's got to be this big story, and then we'll go to the little story, or we'll start with the little stories and go to the big stories. Some people do that to hang you on. And I don't want to do that to hang you on. I want to give you the good stuff, and then you guys decide if you want to hang out or not. But while you're hanging out, make sure you do me a big favor, and that is to hit the like button or dislike button. Make sure that you share it if you've got the ability to do that. And I want to take you, first of all, to a video that I created that is not public. It's not public, but I want to let you see it. Let me see. It's a private video, and I want to get you guys in on that one first. Let's see if I can show it. I'm pulling it up in the content, and for whatever the reason, it seems to me as soon as we went, what is it called? This 5G thing that you just can't avoid as much as you want to. It's like you got to wear talismans around your neck, or stick them in your boobs, or something with copper in it, or metals or something like that, to prevent this stuff from affecting you. But ever since we went to that, it has been very difficult at best for us to get a really good connection. Even if it's hardwired, it appears that we're having some problems. So let me let you guys see this video that I put together. It's abridged, so it's not complete, and it is private. It's a link only, and that's because it's not polished. Here we go. Let me just give it to you guys so that you can see it. We're going to start with this, and then we're going to look at a couple of other things that are very pivotal. I want to slow down tonight, and I don't want to just throw the stories, because there's something, I keep saying this, there is something behind this situation with Dolton. So I called this one pending fraud. So let's see if we can see it. Here we go. Let me pause it so that you can see it. Hold on a second. Man, I got a lot of tabs. I wish you guys could see it from my perspective on this side. I got a lot of tabs of stuff to watch. Here you go. Here's a video that I put together. Some of the stuff you may already know about Dolton. And then here's some things that you don't know. I got a couple of videos. You guys take your time. Don't leave me, because you might find something here on this channel tonight dealing with Dolton County that you may not know. Now, we've got a lot of people who've been arrested, or who have admitted fraud, and who turned themselves in as well. We're also going to look at a couple of other things, but this is good. I want you guys to check it out. Here we go. All right, see if you can see it. This is not available. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're looking today at a WGN article that was done about Tiffany Henyard with the recent meeting that she had with the Board of Trustees there in Dolton, Illinois. She's also the supervisor for Thornton Township.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet, the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work.
Tiffany Henyard considers herself something of a crusader, but one who's clearly annoyed by questions from a rebellious group of Dolton trustees who are in a standoff with her over spending.
At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid.
How about you be a good leader, bring RFPs to the forefront, so not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent.
WGN Investigates has cataloged tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars spent on trips, meals, and more by Tiffany Henyard and her allies in Dolton and on the Thornton Township Board, where she's the supervisor. Township credit card records show Henyard and other officials spent more than $67,000 on trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. Many of the flights were first class. So were the accommodations. In Atlanta, Henyard and her team stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel, costing taxpayers more than $9,000. In New York, the bill came to $13,000. Henyard has refused to explain the specific purpose of the trips or why they travel in such style, but she appeared to refer to our reporting at Monday's Dolton meeting.
But everything we do for the people. But we under attack. We getting scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on the people? Showing them that they matter to us? We going through the fires for y'all.
Henyard calls her critics grandstanders who should get in line.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Dolton's difficulties got worse in recent weeks with water main breaks. Henyard blames on trustee budget cuts. Then 4 people were shot and injured last week, leaving nerves frayed and Henyard's opponents pointing out her sizable security detail.
It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics.
We're not saying the police is not doing a good job. What we're saying is you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents so we can all feel safe.
Now, before we get into the rest of it, I want you to take a listen to the former police chief. He complained and was fired later by Henyard when he stated to her that the police officers that he had on his team needed to be policing the streets.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting America.
At least 2 and as many as 4 officers at a time, he says. Collins says the security detail was warranted when it started in 2021 after a police-involved shooting sparked protests in the community.
And at some point, the protests stopped. The things going on around the protests all eventually stopped. However, the detail continued.
But now he says it's turned into more than just security. Officers are being used as Henyard's personal valets.
Officers would be sent out to run errands, to do pickups, to do drop-offs.
Just last week, a mass shooting on Sibley Boulevard in Dolton left 4 people injured. Collins believes the bad guys know there aren't enough cops on Dolton streets.
But Village of Dolton has its challenges with gangs, guns, and drugs. And if those officers aren't there, the visibility isn't there. And if the visibility isn't there, then criminals have free reign.
Residents are taking notice. Some spoke for and others against the mayor.
Well, you know, we got the mayor here, meeting with the president of the United States. Everyone's seen the picture. That's a big deal. That is great promotion for this city, for this town.
Ladies and gentlemen, be civil. Do things right. Think of the residents. You are here to represent the residents and not yourself.
Henyard and her publicity team no longer respond to our emails seeking an explanation of her spending. As we've reported, she is also the face of a cancer charity that bears her name, one that has failed to file required financial disclosures. The Illinois Attorney General has given the foundation until the middle of this month to show how it spends its money or face legal action. Lourdes?
Okay, so what you just saw right there was a video that I've not finished. It's something that I'm working on. And so that's the reason why it's unlisted. I'm going to clear that out. But here's what I also want to show you. I want to share with you, let me move this all the way down here because I don't want to talk about this right now. I want to talk about that later. But when people think about how did she become the Thornton Township supervisor, here's how she did it. I don't know if it was her. Whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to show you that first. I want to show you something that I found by accident. Let me see, is this it? Because I have let's look at, first of all, her being at the White House, because you heard the gentleman come up and say, hey, you know what? This is a big thing. She was at the White House. We need to take advantage of the fact that she was there. We need to be happy that she was there. So let me see, what did I do with that just that quick in Lucy fashion? And and straight up Lucy fashion. Let me see. How did I do it? There it is. Okay. How do I show it over here though? I know how to do it. Let me grab this, copy this link, put it here, and then put it back over here. There. So that you guys can at least see it. I hope everybody's doing good as I buy time saying that. See, here we go. Here she is. Here she is. Check this out.
Yes, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to working with you. Yes, that art. But yeah, this is schools. Yes, these junior schools. Yeah, this is what we got going on. Thank you guys. Love you. Thanks. Always, always. Have a great day.
Boy. Anyway, as I was trying to say, I know that we're going to get hit for that because I played the music. But in as much as I'm going to get hit for it, I still want you guys to see what's being laid as the platform. And when anybody says things like, oh, she's going to jail, she's going to do this, she's going to go do that. Listen, she ain't going nowhere. If she goes anywhere, I'll be surprised. And if she goes anywhere, it'll be like what I always say. She's going to go through the front door, hang out, do her fingerprints, and go right out the back door into a black SUV with tinted windows. You guys know that's what I always say. So let's continue to look at this. We will not listen, obviously, because I already know that the music has already got me hit. I could feel that already. That's frustrating in and of itself. But here we go. So this is her at the White House. There's a purpose for this woman. There's a purpose. The very first article that you heard while we're looking at this mentioned Portland, it mentioned Atlanta, and it mentioned a couple of other cities, Denver. It mentioned those cities, but you guys got to understand something. Those cities, that man is from Atlanta right there. The black man standing next to her. That's the mayor of Atlanta standing next to her right there. Those cities were mentioned on purpose. Okay? Those cities were not mentioned by accident. Even though they're saying that she was taking these lavish trips and she's doing this and that, that's not going to get her in trouble because she was there on business. She was there on business. Don't know what business. Don't know if they were dealing about talking about 15-minute cities. If it was something talking about how to bring in more funds based on X, Y, or Z. But if you guys remember, on Headlines of the Voice, I covered something called ALL. And ALL is the equivalent to the Young Global Leaders. It's the equivalent because it's dealing with local leaders, mayors, and things of that nature throughout the United States. And these individuals are mayors, they're council people, they're all of this other stuff, but majority of them are mayors. The reason why she's not going to get in any trouble for those visits that she had made, even though they were lavishly done and she had a security detail going with her, is because they were business. She wasn't supposed to tell nobody what that business was, but I looked at those cities pivotally. I looked at them and strategically, they're all Democratic-run cities. She ain't going nowhere. There's a purpose for this girl. There's a purpose. And I'm going to harp on that until we all see it. Nobody else is saying it. Others are just saying that, she's doing egregious things and all this other stuff. I want you to look at this because just minutes before the vote was supposed to take place, with just minutes to spare, This gal became the superintendent, the supervisor of Thornton Township, the largest township in Illinois. This girl is here on purpose. The largest township in Illinois, she governs it. I think I want to show you this video that I stumbled upon. Let me see if I can find that video. Let me clear that out. Let me see if this it. Nope. This is an important video, and I hope I didn't Lucy that one. Okay. Pay attention to this, you guys. I want you to see this because it's going to go with what I'm about to show you where she is concerned. This was back 6 years ago. The Dolton mayor had to come out and say that he had nothing to do with some racist flyers. Let's look at this. Pay very close attention.
Says it was not him.
Riley Rogers says he had nothing to do with this controversial flyer we showed you last night at 10. Today,
I'm giving you the full video stream so you can see it.
And it's all new at 5.
In its entirety.
We're not behind it. I'm going to tell you that 100%.
Dolton Mayor Riley Rogers responds to accusations that his campaign was behind
Here at
this
the far
controversial
left, pay
flyer.
attention.
It depicts 3 black political candidates as members of an old prison chain gang.
We have not put out any hate mail. From the very beginning, we ran our campaign the way we started, a professional campaign.
The flyer specifically includes superimposed faces of mayoral candidate Stanley Brown, along with fellow trustees Robert Hunt Jr. and Tiffany Hayniard. In the foreground is Thornton Township Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli.
I think it's my opponent, Stanley Brown.
She's Frank Zuccarelli's predecessor.
That they started out with.
The mayor's a liar.
But trustee Stanley Brown continues to stand his ground.
Why are you so certain that it was Mayor Rogers who's behind this?
Because that's his tactic. I look at 2 years ago, he did the same thing to some other opponents that was actually running as trustees.
I'm disappointed.
While trustee Duane Muhammad, the third candidate in the mayoral race, believes the flyer is a distraction and does not want to be involved.
It's a turnoff for these voters. And we're too mature for that. We're going to live in the same neighborhood when this election is over. We're going to have to still work with one another. But this list.
Okay. Now, I'm going to turn that off because I want you guys to see the next thing. They're talking about a strip club, but look at this. And for those of you who are from there, you guys already know this. And I know you guys hear this woman here, Lord of mercy. I'm done. I don't want to hear her right now. We're going to get to her. But you guys see this? I'm sure you do. I've got too many tabs open that I can't even figure them out. Here it is. With minutes to spare, Thornton Township Board names Dolton Mayor Tiffany Hayniard to replace the late Frank Zuccarelli as supervisor. Now remember, this young lady holds 2 positions. She not only holds the position as the mayor of the city of Dolton, but she also holds the position of the Thornton Township supervisor. And if you remember the article that I ran a couple of weeks back that talked about the fact that she was also arrested in 2016 for breaking into cars. And she was arrested and she was released the next day. So let me read this to you, okay? Let me give you the whole screen so that I can read it to you completely so you can see it. And let me make it a little larger. Let's see, we'll take it up to about 150. Dismiss. No, you can't use my browser. And what's all this stuff? Take it a little smaller. Here. All right. This is her. Okay. It says, let me make sure y'all can hear me. Yep, you can hear me. Up against a midnight deadline with less than 15 minutes to spare, the Thornton Township Board Thursday appointed Dolton Mayor Tiffany Hayniard to fill the late Frank Zuccarelli's position as Thornton Township Supervisor. The action at a meeting convened at 10:55 p.m. It came after the at least 5 minutes, excuse me, the action at a meeting convened at 10:55 p.m. came after at least 5 other nominations failed and following 2 closed-door sessions by the board that needed to appoint somebody before Friday, or the decision would have been left to voters who attended a town hall style meeting. This followed a Tuesday meeting when the board also had remained deadlocked, even after meeting mostly in closed sessions for more than 3 hours. And that gathering was the continuation of a February 22nd meeting. Township trustee Gerald James Jones, the township assessor Cassandra Elliston, and Joyce Washington, who had been the deputy supervisor, were among the people nominated Thursday who were unable to get 3 votes needed to fill the job, or in some cases, get a second to their nomination. At one point, Township Clerk Loretta Wells was needed to break a 2-2 tie. Washington and Jones had voted to appoint Jones. Trustees Darlene Gray Everett and Christopher D. Gonzalez had voted no. Wells, too, voted no. After no trustee received enough votes, nominations were made of other officials in the town. Of 2025. Zuccarelli, who died January 3rd, had been the township supervisor since 1993. Zuccarelli was the man that was on the front of the flyer they alleged the former mayor put out with Tiffany and 3 other men standing there in convict suits. Okay? That's who Zuccarelli was. He was sitting at the front of the flyer, and they were in the background. So he had been the township supervisor since 1993 and was paid an annual salary of about $250,000, which is more than Cook County Board President Tony Preckerwinkle's salary or Governor J.B. Pritzker's. The supervisor oversees 170 full and part-time township employees and an annual budget of $35 million in 2019, according to the Illinois Comptroller. According to the state statute, the township board had to fill the supervisor position within 60 days, or citizens could call a special township meeting. If at least 15 registered voters attended the meeting and any qualified person who receives the most votes is appointed. Before the meeting, Township Attorney Stanley Cusper said there are different interpretations of the statute, such as whether the 60-day period includes the date of Zuccarelli's death or starts the day after. Rather than risk a legal challenge or letting a group of voters decide at what likely would become a chaotic town hall meeting, Cusper advised the board complete the vote on Thursday. Less than a year ago, Henyard was elected. Note, I'll tell you the date of this document in a few minutes of this article. Less than a year ago, Henyard was elected the youngest mayor of Dolton and the first woman in that position, serving 8 years as a village trustee. She was sworn in as a mayor in May of 2022, and the subsequent months have not been smooth. In November, Henyard said her dream team had become a nightmare. A trustee had accused her of steamrolling her ideas through the village board. A special meeting in August was canceled at the last minute. Trustees held a meeting outside of the village hall with the mayor. Henyard has also been criticized for hiring a registered sex offender as a code enforcement officer. She admitted not having a background check performed was a mistake and said she created a background check policy to try to correct it. But she resisted the board's effort to make the policy retroactive to May. In the fall, Henyard said she was trying to improve communication with board members. And in December, the Dolton Village Board voted 5-1 to put a referendum on the June ballot to have her recalled. Henyard questions the legality of that proposition. Thornton Township borders Indiana and includes all or parts of Burnham, Calamouth City, Dixmoor, Dolton, East Hazel, Crest, Harvey, Homewood, Lansing, Phoenix, Riverdale, South Holland, and Thornton. Now, this was written and this was done March the 4th of 2022. The purpose of me sharing that with you was simply because we've got to put what we're figuring out here. We got to put some brass to this. We got to take some brass tacks and nail it all in. There's a purpose for this woman. I'm going to keep saying that because I can't put my on it unless I get my vehicle and drive out there and look around and feel it in my gut, in my knower, and feel it myself. But I'm telling you, there's a purpose for this woman. She ain't going nowhere yet. And again, if she does, I submit she's going to go through the front door, roll her fingerprints, take a couple of pictures to appease the masses. And then she's going to get in a vehicle and she's going to go out that back door in a black SUV with tinted windows. That's how I see it. You saw what happened as it related to the original guy. He just died in his home, Zuccarelli. He could have died of old age. You know, they said it was natural causes. So she replaced him for the township. Now remember, she's got 2 gigs. Township and the mayor of Dolton. Okay, so that's that piece. Let me look at any of your questions and see what you guys have to say so that we can move here. Okay. Yeah, it was doing something, wasn't it? Zach had cut off a few seconds ago, but you know, we've been having problems. I don't know what's been going on. Okay. Let's see. Can't expect anything but nefarious acts behind closed doors. That's right. Now, she is a siren, maybe. She could be. Yeah, she could be. I'm not, you know, of the two, the siren or the, what is the other one called? The mermaid. She would be the siren if you had to compare the two. Let's see. I think we will know when we see it. Absolutely. And that's the point, that we need to keep our eyes open. He was, what is this? Arkan-sided? Okay. Okay. So let's go on to the next thing. All right. This is, you guys just saw how crazy she was acting. But get a load of this. She's blowing through the money, you guys. She's blowing through the money, you guys. She's blowing through the money, and there is no one that can explain what is going on with the money. Anytime somebody asks her for something, she has a problem. Here we go. Let's look at this. I want you guys to see this. All right. Dolton Mayor Henyard's failure. 13 city vehicles are getting repossessed. $76,000 in delinquent payments. And yet and still, she just said on the video that I just shared with you that these people don't do nothing. Remember? She just said, y'all don't do nothing. They don't want to hear from y'all. They want to hear from the mayor. They want to hear from me, not y'all. Y'all don't do nothing. That's what she said. You heard her. I heard her. But yet and still, these bills are not getting paid. Why? Let's check it out. It says, just like her previous failed businesses, bounce checks, failure to pay rent, unsanitary restaurant, state involuntary dissolved her business. They involuntarily dissolved her business, failed to pay the contractual payments, deep in debt with community college, and among other things. Henyard is leading the village of Dolton on the fast track to nowhere except bankruptcy. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Let me pull this here so it'll scoot it over. Recently, more of Henyard's failures resulted in Dolton Police and Fire Department telephones being disconnected. Henyard, election with the Cook County judge during a township event, placed the police license plates on township vehicles illegally, and the Secretary of State confiscated the plates off the fake township police vehicles. On Valentine's Day of 2024, the bank sent the village of Dolton a certified letter detailing how the village was $76,138 past due in contractual lease agreements for 13 vehicles, which includes 6 police patrol vehicles, including one held as collateral in a $332,761 contract from 2019. And then it goes on to say that the bank indicated previous attempts at obtaining payments, and the village ignored communications from the bank since May of 2023. And it has led the bank to demand the vehicles to be provided for repossession. The letter indicates the bank plans immediate repossession, that they will sell the vehicles to recoup what costs they can and will pursue additional costs, interest, and legal fees through the courts until they can be made whole. Here it is. This comes from State Bank, and they're basically saying, let me make it a little larger so we can see it together, because I can't even see that even with these new specs. Okay, let's see. Here it is. It just says, to whom it may concern, the village of Dolton, Illinois, the people who owe it, and KS Bank, assignee of Municipal Funding Solutions, LLC, entered into a government obligation contract dated on May 15, 2019, in the principal amount of $332,761.50. That's the contract for the purchase of 6 2019 Dodge Durango patrol vehicles and accessories. There are the VIN numbers listed there as well. And 1 2019 Dodge Caravan, and there is the VIN number as well there. Due to failure to maintain current payments, the contract is now in default. As of the date of this letter, the amount due is $76,138, with interest accruing thereon. Repeated, it says, attempts to contact to contact her regarding the past due amount that was due on May 15th, 2023. Yeah, they coming to get them. Has been ignored, and previous promises to pay have been broken. You mean to tell me somebody literally got on that phone or letters with them and said they was going to pay it and didn't? Wow. Somebody literally made a promise to pay and didn't pay it. That's terrible. It says any reference by the obligee to a specific event or of default shall in no way constitute or be construed to be a waiver of any other default which may now exist or hereafter arise under the contract. The obligee's acceptance of any payment will not be considered a waiver of any default or a novation, modification, or renewal of the contract, or prevent them from exercising any right, remedy, or power available to them, including without limitation all rights, remedies, and powers granted under the contract and at law or in equity, all of which are expressly reserved, which means it don't matter what you think, do, or say. We coming to get what belongs to us. We are coming to get it, whether you like it or not. We're on our way. So, what is the problem here? Not only has she done this, but the reason why I'm rolling out everything she's done is because I want you to see how crooked things really are. When this woman is arrested, if she's arrested, and then all of a sudden you see a slap on the wrist, or if she's promoted and moved on somewhere else. Because I truly believe that she is not just somebody who ended up slipping in under the wire, baby. No, I don't think that. I think this chick right here is here on purpose. She might be here to stay. And then again, I may be completely wrong. They may arrest her. Let's take a look at this, because this is what she did just this past week. As you may or may not know, whenever you have a public meeting, you are able to go. You are eligible to go to those public meetings in your city, in your county, however it's set up. They're public because you are a taxpayer. You have a right to go. She shut everybody out this week. Let's listen as we all hear this woman tell the story of what happened when she attempted to go to the Thornton Township public meeting.
What happened when you tried to go upstairs to the board meeting?
The security guard won't let me up. He just stands at the bottom of the stairs like this.
Politicians don't always like to hear from the public, but some South suburban residents say controversial supervisor and mayor Tiffany Henyard has gone too far.
Yeah, they say she took extraordinary, potentially illegal measures to prevent them from speaking at a public meeting. Dame Placo has more.
The sign outside its headquarters says, "Welcome to Thornton Township, people working with people." But when residents showed up last night to speak at a public board meeting, they got anything but a warm welcome.
When I arrived, there was security here. He was standing at the bottom of the stairs, preventing anybody from going up to the boardroom. I asked him if the meeting was downstairs. He replied yes.
Stephanie Wiedemann and a handful of other residents wanted to speak directly to Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, also the mayor of Dolton, who's generated controversy for spending hundreds of thousands of tax dollars on trips, police security, billboards, and her own personal charity.
I'm just curious to see who makes the decisions about how our tax dollars are being spent.
But they never got that chance. After being blocked from going to the boardroom upstairs, they were sent to the basement where they were told the township board meeting would be held. It wasn't. They asked for a sign-up sheet for public comment, never got it. And before they knew what had happened, the 4-minute meeting upstairs was over and Henyard was gone without hearing from her constituents.
They are violating our rights. I pay taxes here. I have a right to get up and speak whether this administration likes it or not.
And not only were the residents shut out, so was a local newspaper reporter who came here to cover the meeting.
I was told by a security guard that I was not allowed upstairs where the boardroom meeting is.
Josh Bootsma of the Lansing Journal says residents deserve to know how elected officials are spending their money.
Thornton Township is the largest township in Illinois. And so there are a lot of people that are affected by the decisions, the financial decisions that this township makes.
Even Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez, a frequent Henyard critic, was ordered out of the boardroom until the meeting began.
Do you think any laws were broken last night by the way they handled the public?
Well, definitely. I mean, if somebody wants to speak, it's a public meeting, it's a public building. They should be able to come in.
The residents say they'll file a complaint with the Illinois Attorney General's office for violating the Open Meetings Act. Our attempts to contact Henyard also went nowhere. In South Holland, Dane Placo, Fox 32 Chicago.
All right, so I don't know whether you guys all saw the night that I put up her mugshot. If you didn't see that, go back into some of the videos on either channel and you'll be able to find it where her mugshot was put up. This lady was arrested for breaking into parked cars, allegedly. They arrested her for this. Then she posted bond the very next day, in 2016. If you go through some of the videos, you may see her face sitting alongside another one. I think it's called Only in America or something like that. But the purpose for me bringing this up is to let you know that these are the ways from the inside out our country is being taken over. Now, here's the deal. How do you go from having somebody who is as well-versed in this whole thing, Mr. Zuccarelli, because from what I understand, Mr. Zuccarelli, and for those of you who are from that area or that region, you may know of him. I didn't until this. From what I've been able to read, he was pretty much like a staple in the community or in the state or in that region. And so it's amazing that we as a, people would go from him to her. But again, they did not elect anybody. They weren't able to take her. They weren't able to take the other people. So she just, oh my God, really? Oh my goodness. Oh, I made it. Oh, I made it. Oh, like, when they run for the Miss Universe or something and they go, oh my God, me. Yeah, you. All right. That's where that is. And we're going to keep our finger on the pulse of this story. Now, there is another story that I want to talk about. There's several stories. We only got a few more left, believe it or not. I wanted to get through all of those. But here's what I want to talk about, how the house of cards are falling in on some of these individuals who thought that they were above the law. This next one is the ex-Baltimore state attorney, Marilyn Mosby. The judge denied the motion to throw out all the stuff that she had done. Let's go ahead and look at this. I don't want to read it. I'm going to just go ahead and says, the judge refuses to throw out mortgage fraud case against ex-Baltimore state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. We covered her about 2 weeks ago, and this is the aftermath of our coverage. This is what happened after. The date of the article is February 16th, 2024. Came out yesterday. And let's just take a gander. It says a judge on Friday denied a motion to throw out the mortgage fraud case against former Baltimore state attorney Marilyn Mosby, rejecting an argument that the federal prosecutors had failed to establish that the case shouldn't have been tried in Maryland. Mosby, 44, a Democrat who served 2 terms as the city's top prosecutor from 2015 through 2023, was found guilty on February 6th in the U.S. District Court of Greenbelt of 1 count of making false statements on a loan application. The jury determined that Mosby lied when she submitted the letter to the mortgage company claiming that her husband, at the time, Nick, who's president of Baltimore City Council, had agreed to gift her $5,000 at closing toward a condominium in Longboat Key, Florida. They've since been divorced. Now, he went ahead and divorced her and kept his position, to my knowledge. He kept his position. He didn't want nothing to do with that. But jurors found her not guilty on a loan application related to her earlier purchase of a home in Kissimmee, Florida, close to the Walt Disney World. I guess they had to throw that in. The U.S. District Judge Lydia K. Grigsby ruled that the government presented sufficient evidence to show that Mosby submitted the gift letter when she was in Maryland. Quote, the court must deny the defendant's motion at this as to the venue issue, said Grigsby, who added that she would later issue a written opinion. Mosby was previously found guilty of 2 counts of perjury in 2023 after a jury concluded that she had lied to withdraw. It looks like it should be tried to, but it says lied. $90,000 from a retirement account under a provision in the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or CARES Act. She used that money to buy a home and a condo. Sentencing is scheduled for her on May the 23rd. The Assistant Federal Public Defender, Maggie Grace, one of Mosby's attorneys, argued that the government had failed to prove that her client submitted the gift letter in Maryland. Now, let's take a look at the article that's covering this from the news, and we'll all, we'll glance at this together. Here it is. They upheld it, so here we go.
Another breaking update we first brought to you on WJZ News at noon. A judge upheld Marilyn Mosby's mortgage fraud conviction today, rejecting a defense motion to acquit the former Baltimore City State's attorney.
Mosby also must surrender her passport ahead of sentencing.
WJZ investigator Mike Helgren has covered every single development in this case. He joined us live from U.S. District Court in Greenbelt.
And Mike, we understand Mosby had a lot of supporters there today.
She did, Vic and Denise. They arrived in a large bus and they packed the courtroom. In the end, the judge here did not buy the defense argument that the crimes happened outside of Maryland and should not have been tried here. Marilyn Mosby headed into court surrounded by supporters.
We recognize you smiling down on us right now. That every judge, every state's attorney, every jury know the jury in charge.
They prayed outside the federal courthouse, but those prayers were not answered with an acquittal of the former top Baltimore City prosecutor. Mosby's public defenders argued her conviction for mortgage fraud involving this condo on Florida's Gulf Coast should be overturned, that prosecutors could not prove lies involving a $5,000 gift that her then husband, City Council President Nick Mosby, gave her to close on the property were made in Maryland. Defense attorney Maggie Grace told the judge Mosby could have signed the gift letter in Delaware, Virginia, Pennsylvania, or Washington, D.C., while federal prosecutors pointed to Mosby's Bank of America transactions, including this Cockeysville Five Guys purchase made just days before the gift. We literally don't see any movement outside Maryland at all, prosecutor Aaron Zielinski told the judge. We don't believe we need an expert about a Five Guys in Cockeysville.
Trial judges are extremely reluctant to overturn the verdict of a trial jury. And so this particular issue will be given full consideration by the appeals court.
You think she's going to appeal all this?
Absolutely, she'll appeal.
Ms. Mosby, do you plan to appeal? Is this a miscarriage of justice? Mosby did not answer questions, leaving court after losing her argument, surrounded by supporters.
It's about righteousness.
She thanked them, and they continued defending her.
But you're going to come at this one black woman over a gift letter? Come on now. That is ridiculous.
The judge also ordered Mosby to surrender her passport by next week.
I'm sorry, but the black card is getting exhausting. And there's another piece that I'm going to show you guys here tonight where what the about to go there. I know if Ronnie.d.Mann is watching and he's in the shadows, he is the one who helped catch me because I was about to say it. Y'all already know I'll cuss like Peter. What in the world does being black have to do with violating the law? It doesn't matter how big or how small it is, because if it's you and it's me, we going. If it's you or it's me, we're going to have to pay something back. If it's you or it's me, we are going to be held accountable. But they don't think they should be. And then their followers get on these diatribes and run around and it's a black woman. It's a black woman. You wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't a black woman. Well, I got a white woman on these tabs up here, and they got her too. Why? Because it is a representation of John Q. Public and the big guys. That's why they're showing you these people go to jail, and others are ramping up to go to jail. I have a juxtaposition, a story that is juxtaposing Miss Henyard's day, because there's a guy here, and we're going to look at him in a second after we look at this, who was a former mayor. He's in trouble. So let's finish listening to this, but I'm done with hearing the black card, because it's not about that. This is symbolism, and whether we know it or not, or whether we understand it or not, that's exactly what it is, which is the reason why I'm showing you white folk tonight, black folk tonight. I'm showing you folk who are in positions who are headed to go bye-bye or have elected to go bye-bye. Let's finish listening to the end of this, because that whole comment that Momo just made, Madea just made, just really got my goat.
Her lawyers fought that, saying she had a travel business and may need to get away from the media after the stress of the trial. It's unnecessary to restrict her freedom, Public Defender James White has said. It's unfathomable she would leave her two daughters, the most important people in her life.
Yeah, why are they taking it now? You know why they're taking it now? They're taking it now to further rub dirt in her eye.
Now, Mosby is scheduled to be sentenced on May 23rd for both perjury and mortgage fraud cases. She faces a maximum of 40 years behind bars, but it is highly unlikely she will get anywhere near that sentence. She also faces a forfeiture hearing where she could have to give up money and property. Live in Greenbelt, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
All right, now let's get on with it. We're going to keep it rolling. I'm not even going to talk. I'm just going to let you see this. we're going to go ahead and because I believe that I'm going to save her for last because I really don't appreciate it. But anyway, here goes this story. I'll let you see this. There it is. Is this it? There he is right there. I'm not even going to read it. Yeah, I am. I'm going to read it. I'm going to do what I plan to do. All right. So here's the former mayor. This is the former mayor of Hempstead. Okay. Former mayor of Hempstead has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. Okay. They can come back and get you, baby. Don't worry. They come back and get you. This is him. Waller County, Texas. The former city of Hempstead mayor, Michael Shane Wolf, has been sentenced to multiple years in prison. He was charged with the misapplication of fiduciary property greater than $300,000. The district attorney of Waller County says Wolf repeatedly approved multiple invoices from a contracting firm without ensuring the work had been done or was up to standard. The total loss to the city of Hempstead for road services to Glover Construction is said to be well over $2 million. On Thursday, February 15th, Wolf chose to change his plea to guilty and reached a plea agreement with the district attorney's office in exchange for his plea of guilty and waiver of appellate rights. Wolf was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Now, let's take a look at the news article covering this story. Right here.
To prison. That sentence comes nearly 6 years after a routine audit uncovered questionable spending at City Hall. KPRC2 investigator Robert Arnold has been on this case since former mayor Michael Wolf was first charged. He is joining us now live from Hempstead. And Robert, the former mayor initially
I'm going to look for that
these
movie,
charges.
Hopkins.
Tell us about it.
He did. The former mayor was facing a first-degree felony over how he was spending the taxpayers' money, and they were in the middle of trial. Prosecutors called 7 witnesses to the stand, and the defense was supposed to start presenting its case today to a jury, but former Mayor Michael Wolf changed his mind and pleaded guilty. At the heart of the case are roads like this one.
In this case, Mayor Wolf, he was using his position and the taxpayer money of the city of Hempstead to benefit himself, his family, his friends, his supporters, and people he liked.
Waller County District Attorney Shan Whitmore says a yearly audit of city finances was the first red flag. It uncovered certain people getting a pass on not paying their utility bills. That led to more questions about how former Mayor Michael Wolf was spending taxpayer dollars.
Let's listen to that
Eventually,
again.
Prosecutors
They
Bennett
just say he
Dodson and
forgave
Elliot Beatty
bills?
are
Hold
spending
on.
taxpayer dollars. Eventually, it's about how former Mayor Michael Wolf was spending taxpayer dollars. Eventually, prosecutors Bennett Dodson and Elliot Beatty amassed binders full of invoices and maps of road work that was never done or never completed.
Our theory of the
It's about how former Mayor Michael Wolf was spending taxpayer dollars. Eventually,
His friends,
There.
his
I'll go
supporters,
there.
and people he liked.
Waller County District Attorney Shan Whitmore says a yearly audit of city finances was the first red flag. It uncovered certain people getting a pass on not paying their utility bills. That led to more questions about how former Mayor Michael Wolf was.
Okay, so here's the deal. Remember when I told you guys the story a couple of weeks ago about when I had to go in and remove a manager because she was doing some really illegal stuff? And then one of her people, another key holder, came to me and said, well, I'm so glad, she calls me on my cell phone, that you got her because she was doing a lot of illegal stuff. And after I let her tell me everything the girl was doing, if you remember, I asked her, well, what is it that you were doing that she was covering for that obtained your silence? How was she silent? So he forgave people's utility bills. That sent up a red flag. Because I'm taking all the money too. So here, let me go ahead on and give y'all your utilities. I'm going to forgive your bills.
Spending taxpayer dollars. Eventually, prosecutors Bennett Dodson and Elliot Beatty amassed binders full of invoices and maps of road work that was never done or never completed.
Our theory of the case was the system was set up as such where basically
the
everything
like
at City
button,
Hall
please.
flowed through the mayor.
Prosecutor Bennett Dodson says he totaled more than $2 million worth of road work, all approved by the former mayor and all going to one vendor without any checks and balances.
When you looked at the pattern of these invoices over time and where the work was being done, there was absolutely no supervision of the road work. And the city had paid for roads at still don't exist.
Prosecutor Elliot Beatty says Wolf approved all these invoices himself and made sure to keep the amounts low enough to not trigger state bidding laws.
If a project costs more than $50,000, it must be bid out by law. There were invoices for $49,000, $49,800, $48,900, very suspicious amounts.
After initially pleading not guilty, Wolf's attorney told prosecutors this morning his client had changed his mind and would plead guilty. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
He can't go out there and say, well, the jury got it wrong or the judge got it wrong. I'm still innocent. No, you admitted to that conduct.
We're not going to stand for any public official abusing their office for the benefit of others or themselves.
And as I said, this road was one example in the case. There were several invoices showing multiple amounts of work done out here, yet it's still not finished. Now, Shan Whitmore recently took over as district attorney in December for Waller County, and he said he is still looking into whether charges can be filed against the vendor in this case. We did not mention that vendor because no charges have been filed at this time, but the investigation is not yet complete. Reporting live from Hempstead, Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.
All right, Robert.
Okay, so we just saw that. Now let me give you another background story. This is for a situation that took place in Fulton County, and it's an ongoing case. So you may be interested to hear this. I did promise that there were white folks and black folk alike that we were looking at tonight that have been doing things that they shouldn't do. And now their chickens have come home to roost. So this story is, a YSL RICO trial defense attorney has been arrested on a gang charge. This girl has gone on from high school to college. She did, she went on to law school. She did the bar. She studied. She took the bar. She became an attorney, only for this to happen. Her name is Nicole Fagan, and she represented Tenquarius Minder in the YSL RICO trial that's currently going on right now in none other than Fulton County, Georgia. And Quintarius Minder is in the YSL RICO trial, and he was charged with a criminal street gang activity and criminal solicitation to commit the offense of tampering with evidence. So that's what's up with her. According to Atlanta Police Department, Fagan was brought to the attention of the investigators during the investigation of a deadly double shooting at William Street and Baker Street on September 27th, 2022. Now, the Young Thug trial, that's what this is referring to, YSL, right? Investigators say that Fagan contacted one of the people involved and told him that he had an active warrant for his arrest. Later, during a preliminary hearing, it was revealed that Fagan had told that man to dispose of his cell phone. They're coming to get you. You better take off running. Now, what could she have possibly gained from telling this man this information? I don't know what she gained, but I know what she lost. And let's take a look at that right now. We're going to look at the news article that's coming out of Fulton County, Georgia.
Another busy day in the Fulton County.
I had it queued up.
Authorities have arrested a criminal defense attorney on charges she told a murder suspect to throw away evidence. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has been working on this breaking story throughout the day today. Tyler is live now with more. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Christine, good afternoon to you. One of the defendants who represents one of the attorneys representing a defendant in the YSL gang case is now in trouble herself. And I've learned that she faces a gang charge herself. This is Nicole Fagan. She was arrested today in Gwinnett County, stemming from a September 2022 deadly shooting in downtown Atlanta, not far from Centennial Olympic Park. Fagan is not accused of shooting anyone, but Atlanta police say investigators learned she contacted a suspect in the shooting and told him there was a warrant for his arrest. Investigators say she learned about that during a court hearing related to the shooting. Police say she told the suspect, who they aren't identifying, to dispose of his phone as police were going to arrest him. Detectives say Fegan was not representing the suspect that she called. She faces 2 charges: participation in criminal street gang activity and solicitation to tamper with evidence. Fegan represents YSL defendant Tinquarius Mender. Besides Fegan, police have also arrested Keontae Davis in this case. It's unclear if he's the suspect she called, but officers took him into custody last February after he was pulled over for rolling through a red light. This is body camera video of that arrest. Davis is accused of taking part in the deadly shooting, which went from an argument to gunfire. 1 person was killed and another was injured in that case. He faces at least 2 charges, including murder. Back out here live, we have been working to get her arrest warrant, but so far we have not gotten that. We're going to continue to follow the story and bring you the very latest coming up on Fox 5 News at 5 and 6. We are live in downtown Atlanta this afternoon. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
What a major development there. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Okay. Now, Fani Willis has something to do with this whole thing, obviously, because she is the district attorney there. But as you see, that gal just pretty much threw her whole career away. She threw her whole entire career away. You know what? If I had to put this together in just like real life terms, it's like the good girls who always wanted the bad guys to pay attention to them in school now have the education and the jobs and the wherewithal to have their attention. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. Okay? That's what it feels like. And so now this gal has just thrown her whole entire career away for getting involved. Listen. If you're going to be a stupid criminal or a stupid smart girl, you should have just told him something to the effect of, okay, you'd like to retain my counsel? Yeah, I'll retain your counsel. I just sent you a document in your email. Fill that out. Okay, I'm your counsel. All right, this is what's going on. They're coming to get you. They're coming to join you, honey. Now run, throw your phone, whatever. But this gal is done. She's done. The mayor we just saw in Houston, Texas, he's done. He's a memory. Past tense cat. Her too. Now, what I said the other day while we were looking at the Fani Willis situation was it was like they were trying to turn her comments into memes, as it were. You know, like a man is not a necessity. He's a something. He's a companion. He's this and that. We're totally getting off of the whole entire reason why any of us really know about Fani. A lot of us knew about her dealing with that whole case we just got to looking at. With the YSL case, with Plies and with all these other guys. We know about her and, her hanging out in the different places and locations. Some of us knew. Okay, those of us in specific groups, we knew. The majority of everybody knows about her because of her audacity to pull up and go after Trump. Now, this whole situation with Trump is still there. Roman's case is still there. These things aren't going away simply because now we're in the forefront and we've got our little media beta scams on and we can see what's going on. That stuff's still going on. They didn't plan on her having this miscarriage of judgment that she has had. So here we're going to look at a couple of the things that they're now saying to get us further off of the point. So now we're off of the whole Trump point by dealing with her situation and this man. Now, I'm going to say this because I hear a lot of ignorant people. I don't care what she do. I don't care who she sleep with. It don't matter who she sleep with. That's coming people out of Atlanta. Out of the Fulton County area. I don't care who she sleep with. That ain't none of my business. Okay, so how about the fact that she has broken the laws and the regulations that they put in place to keep people above board in that very same county? It's not about the fact that he and she were screwing each other. Who cares? You screw who you want. I don't care. I ain't in the bedroom with you. That's you. But the deal is that what she is doing is she is breaking their rules. And even she, as we showed a few weeks ago, came out and said, I don't want anybody. I'm never going to be sleeping with nobody that's up under me and da-da-da-da-da. Well, she broke that. And it's just the very appearance of evil that I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at the very appearance of it because it's just the very appearance of doing what's wrong that ain't right. That's the problem. But here's an even bigger problem. I can understand, excuse me, a few people who don't have the wherewithal that maybe you do or the knowledge that regular standard folk do, thinking that it's okay. Not understanding that it is a problem when you violate the law, when all they had to do was come out in the first place. This is how this whole situation I'm about to show you with her would have ended. Yes, we have been in a relationship. Oh, I need to take a slap on the wrist for me having this sexual encounter with him. She even had her daddy get on the stand yesterday and make a clown of himself. Because as we pointed out while we were looking at his testimony, of course he never knew about this man. Because what daughter wants to come and say or try to explain who this man is? Because he clearly said, the father said that he understood that she had a boyfriend who was a DJ. And what the lawyers did not do to give some validity to their point that this man, Wade, had been spending the night at her house, they did not pull the one major key that her daddy let out, and that is, I was always having to move over his DJ equipment. Well, his DJ equipment was everywhere. So yes, of course, I knew who he was because that was her boyfriend. They didn't pull that. They didn't come back and say, okay, well, wait a minute. You just said that you wouldn't have a man staying at your house. How was your father stepping over his DJ equipment? Question. And she could have answered it, but it's one of the things that they have not picked up on. Now they're trying to turn her into a black woman shero to further put the nail in the coffin of the black independent woman, who in a minute going to be some homeless women because these companies are closing their doors. These companies are laying people off high from the low, position-wise, and these individuals are going to be out there looking for places to live. Did you know that the rising number of women who are of a specific age are now homeless? Large quantities of women. So with that said, this statement that she's going to have wrapped up around ignorant black women who don't know no better is here. Let's take a glance at this. This is from her friend. Now, we covered this yesterday or day before yesterday, but I'm going to look at this, and then I want you guys to see what's going on as it relates to let's read this. Now, a former friend gave perhaps the most damning testimony about Fani Willis and this young man. Wade, the other woman she is, right? That's why her daddy didn't know nothing about her, because you don't want your daddy knowing you sleeping with somebody else's husband. Plain and simple, okay? I'm going to do it just like Black Spring One Autumn daddy used to say. Let's put it down here where the cows can get it. You don't want your daddy know, so that's the reason why your daddy knew about the DJ that you was sleeping with. But your daddy wasn't going to know about this other woman's husband because he going to ask questions, which I'm sure he did know, all right? I'm sure he knew. All right, because the mama on the boy's side, sure enough, knew. Now, Robin Bryant Yurdy was a friend or because she told her a new one. Fani told her a new one. She was an acquaintance that had known her since college days. Albeit they didn't go to the same college, they knew of one another, okay? Robin Bryant Yurdy, a former friend of Willis's, testified that she was aware that Willis was romantically engaged with Wade. Bryant Yurdy said they had started dating in 2019, before Willis had been elected as district attorney, before Donald Trump's perfect phone call to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, which set off the investigation. I'm going to put a pin here. This chick should have dealt with everything Fulton. When they came to her and said, we want you to do this, we want you to do that, she could have said, oh, let me go ahead on and retire now. Let me go ahead and get out of this now. Let me go ahead and leave this alone. But she didn't. Bryant Yerdy's testimony directly contradicted Wade's sworn statement in an affidavit in his divorce case, which said that he had not been involved in a relationship with someone else while he was still married. And that dude, boy, I'm not going to use the phrase that everybody and their mama is using right now and call him a narcissist. This dude is a pathological liar. Okay. And that's my opinion. Now, I'm not a doctor in that regard where I can say, hey, I've seen what he's done. We've talked at length. And I'm going to say medically, he's a pathological liar. I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying is when you look up the term pathological liar, homeboy is sitting right there. Hey, he's there. Bryant Yerdy's testimony directly contradicted Wade's sworn statement in an affidavit in his divorce case, which said that he had not been involved in a relationship with someone else while still married. And by the way, in Georgia, contrary to what the 34-year-old or the 35-year-old judge in this case thinks, is a misdemeanor. Right now today, adultery is a misdemeanor in Georgia. I don't care what that judge said. You look it up. Same here in Alabama. You got some misdemeanors down here, down south, baby. They're not playing that. And if you want to be dirty and go ahead on and get him on what he did, or go ahead on and get her with the pool boy for what she did, you can, because it's listed there. But he didn't understand that. Let's get on with the case, he says. Prosecutors noted in Willis's defense that Bryant, Yerdy, and Willis had a falling out, and that Bryant Yerdy had left the district attorney's office on her own, because it was actually acrimony, because it was like either you leave or we're going to fire you. I would have said, fire me, baby. I need unemployment, but nonetheless. But the testimony was enough to open the door, compelling Wade and then later Willis to take the stand. That's all they needed. And then who put the nail in the coffin and then ended up getting the nail stuck in his back was the other gentleman. All right, so let's get here and let's see what the friend had to say.
Ma'am, let me be very specific. Did you talk with Miss Willis about her romantic relationship with Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Did Miss Willis tell you on more than one occasion that she was engaged in a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to you leaving the district attorney's office?
Did she tell me or did I observe?
I'm saying right now with the tell me.
Yes.
Did she tell you that in the year of 2020?
Yes.
In the year of 2021?
Yes.
Are you certain that Miss Willis told you about the romantic relationship with Mr. Wade prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
Now, did you also have observations of Mr. Wade and Miss Willis together prior to November 1st of 2021?
Yes.
And are those observations, were those in a social setting?
Yes.
And did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Such as, can you give us an example?
Hugging, kissing, just affection.
All before November 1st of 2021, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have.
And that's all they needed to have. Now, here is the article that is brewing. This is the problem. This is the problem. I'm going to read this. Okay. A conversation, and it's based on this crap that she had going on the witness stand that she literally just took over, right? She literally took over the witness stand, the witness stand. Okay, let's get a hold of this. A conversation about race and gender is beginning to brew as Georgia prosecutor Fani Willis attempts to maintain her post as the lead prosecutor in the election racketeering case against former President Donald Trump. Willis, the district attorney of Fulton County, Georgia, previously said the allegations brought against her having an improper romantic relationship with special prosecutor Nathan Wade were made because she's Black. Hold on here. Hold on here. Let me come over here for a second. No, it's because it was unethical. And even if you couldn't get somebody else, you should have removed your rod, your staff, your stiff one from the party. He should have been taken away. He should have never been a part of the party. When you knew that you could not get the first person that you wanted involved, before you even knew that, you should have never drug your dude over there. But I'm going to tell you guys what I said the other week. The reason why he was a part of the party, in my impression, is because she kept saying, I don't know why you're not getting a divorce yet. Well, you know, baby, I done told you. It's really expensive, and I already know she going to get this and that, and I don't make enough, and I don't do this and that. Before the opportunity came, before the Trump opportunity came, he was probably already telling them that, because homeboy yesterday, the other gentleman, his quote unquote attorney / best friend, who did not even know that his signature was on documents from 2023, long after he had stopped being his divorce attorney. Okay. All right. And they threw him under the bus. What I say yesterday, they rolled him up and bowled him down the alley. And he was gutterball all the way after that. Once he saw that not only Willis's and Wade's defense had thrown him away, he didn't even have his own attorney stand up in time to help save him. That boy gonna lose his license, but that's another point. We're gonna talk about that another time. But the issue is, it has nothing to do with her being Black. And I'm tired of the Black card being used whenever you go out and you be corrupt. So why don't you just say it like this? If white folk can do it, why can't I? I would have more respect for you if you said something like, well, if Hunter can do it, why can't I? I would have respect. It's still no excuse for doing wrong, but I would have more respect. If you're doing wrong and you're not using your mind to think, and you're not making sound and wise judgment and decisions that can help pull other people up and do your gig, then why is it because you Black? This chick went to the church and told the people, it's because I'm Black. It's because I'm Black. I'm tired of it, but let's go. Let's finish. Let's finish reading. And I'm sorry, I just had to take that moment because I'm just done. So because you Black, you get the right to go out and commit crimes and do things that don't use any judgment? The crime was the fact. So let me make sure it's clear, because I don't want anybody looking at this later and then coming back to me saying, well, that wasn't a crime, but this was a crime. Let me make it clear for you. Let me make it 110% crystal so that we don't have this issue, because we're going to get back into the article. Here's the problem for those of you who might want to come after me later and say, well, that wasn't a crime. She could sleep with who she want to sleep with. The problem is you are paying money. First off, let's take it back. Wade was an attorney that the Fulton County District Attorney's Office had been using. Okay? They had been using him. They had been using other individuals. So this was one contract prior to the whole Trump thing. He had been hired by them, and the Fulton County citizenry had been paying his bills, basically paying him to do a job under Fulton County. A new contract was opened later that established him as being the lead prosecutor on this case, and she continued to stub the dude. Okay? She continued to bust it wide open for the boy. All right? I'm putting it down here for you. I hope you get it. Hope you ain't got no kids watching it. So she continued to do what she was doing because she couldn't get anybody else, she says, to go on ahead and fill that seat. So at one point or another, she should have came to her senses and said, yo, whoa, wait a minute. Let these other cats that's on this team with us know what's been going on with us so we can decide how we need to move forward. Because if it was important for her to deal with this case And if it was important for it to be above board and without any reproach and smudge marks on it, she should have recused herself. Another person who should have been recused, and I want to say thank you to somebody who had me doing some digging, because I dug and I found out that this judge was definitely somebody who was working for her as a law clerk. The whole thing can be thrown out, and you know what will happen after that? They're going to proceed as planned. This thing has so many points of contention in it that it is not funny, and we're only going to, as a musical term, because this guy plays the cello, the judge, all right, 35 years old, 34 years old judge, okay, who was her law clerk, pure and simple, I found it. What's going to happen is somebody going to say, well, this whole thing needs to be just thrown out. Throw the whole thing out. Let's just start again. It's the point that you should not have been engaged with anybody that you work with under any circumstance and any capacity, because you don't crap where you eat. You don't crap where you sleep. But you, madam, went and did what you wanted, because just the same way you walked in there with that frumpy pink suit on and the pearls, pink dress on and the pearls, frumpy, looked like you had no foundations under the back. I'm looking at lack of foundations, bunched up panty lines. You look like you had just put the shirt or dress on backwards. You come running in there looking like a bull in a china cabinet, hair all over your head. And the white gal that was sitting there on your defense team was like, what the hell are you doing in here looking like this, first off? And who called you? Because her ego. And now the people who set her up to do this have pretty much pulled the rug out from under her. And now all she's motivated is by fear. Fear of being found out, fear of now having to deal with this alone, fear of the fact that I got to come in here and defend myself. Fear of the fact that people are going to realize that you wasn't equipped for this, even this gig. You were not equipped to be the DA. You weren't. And then you had your daddy get up there and lie with you. All of y'all a bunch of liars in the day of technology. You mean to tell me that nobody saw nothing but daddy told it, didn't he? And then had the nerve to lean on the fact that he wasn't subpoenaed to be there. Once you said I do, and I swear, that emptied all of that, my friend. They're going to throw something out on technicalities, because I can't see this judge, as young as he is, in a re-election year, having the cojones to get rid of her, knowing that he got to go right back to the constituents and to the voters of Fulton County and beg them for their vote. Let's go ahead on and continue with this. So it says that a conversation, so it's a conversation about race and gender and all this other stuff, because she says that Nathan Wade were made because she is Black. Now, a little more than a month after making that claim, a handful of Willis's proponents are echoing her position. Bishop Reginald T. Jackson, presiding prelate of the 6th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in Georgia, told the New York Times that he believes Willis wouldn't be facing the allegations of misconduct if she were not a woman and Black. But we just got through seeing what happened to a woman who's white in Fulton County, who decided she wanted to shade outside of the lines the same way that Fani did in Fulton County, a white woman who just got thrown in the clink. So we obviously know it don't have nothing to do with your color, but it has everything to do with the trust that's invested in you by the citizenry and the people who send you there to do your job, and you violate your job. It's got everything to do about that, and it ain't got nothing to do with you being Black. Let it go. Stop it, because you're making all of us look bad. Now, story goes on to say, quote, if she was not a woman and Black, I don't think she would have gone through this, said Jackson, whom the outlet noted has prayed with and counseled Willis in private in recent weeks. Now, let's go on ahead and take a gander at the whole AME Bethel. I want you to look at how she set it up for those who don't read. for those who don't get involved civically, for those who just listen to what people have to say. Let's see what it was that she said. Let's see what it was that she said. Let's take a gander at it, shall we? Here she is at the church. Come on, say what you're gonna say at the church. Come on.
You know, I have some notes here, and at some points I'll go to them, and at some points I'm just going to stray from them. But I hope y'all will be patient with me. The bishop told me I am welcome to be myself. In this very historic house of God. How many of y'all know that's what Bethel means? House of God. There is literally no place in the world I'd rather be than right here with you today. God always brings you to that safe place where you need to be. And so the invitation to come where God's message is taught, adhered to, and celebrated is my honor. I want to acknowledge and humbly thank, first of all, my Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. Also, his humble servants, Christine, Dr. John Foster, Sister Mary Ann Foster, and Chairperson Carla Morrison, who didn't care what they told me to invite the Still Good. I hope for y'all this week I don't look like what I've been through. I want y'all to know I pulled out my most lavish $29.99 dress from Arnold.
She don't look like what she been through, but Kaya even said, I told you her dress was on backwards. Homegirl came in that, she came in there the other day looking like what she been through. Hair all tore up, matted, no edge control on her hair. She didn't have on no edge control. She had wrinkles on the forehead. The dress was on backwards like she wore it and slept in the office the night before. She looked like a bull in a china cabinet. But your Ross dress was the least of your worries.
Here I stand to talk to you this morning. See, that part's funny. That's not God. Now, I must warn you, if you are looking today, this morning, to hear from a perfect person, well, he was crucified and he died for your sins. But today, what he has brought you is his very flawed, hard-headed, and imperfect servant. And so I pray for him to please use me this morning. Some people to hear the word of God. Others are here for other reasons, but my God got a way of making sure no matter why you came, you leave his message. So the theme being celebrated today is, it starts with me. I want somebody to repeat that. It starts with me. Shifting the cultural climate through the study and practice of Dr. King's nonviolent philosophy. So I'm gonna start here. When I researched the history of this monumental church, two words just jumped off the page at me. And the words were this: this church is built on faith and resilience. The hard-headed, flawed, imperfect servant before you is built and is being constantly chiseled on faith and resilience. I smiled when I read the description. I knew God was telling me, I'm sending you where you need to be. I was invited here to give you a message.
Was he sending you to be up under somebody else's spouse? That's what I want to understand. How everybody seems to call on Jesus, call on the Lord God Almighty. As soon as you start to get out there doing your sin, where was God and Jesus and all of that when you elected to start sleeping with a man who had been having this divorce go on for years and was still cohabitating at one point with his wife before she went over to Texas to take care of her ailing family member? Where was all of that then? Because see, even though some black folk is running around with this narrative that has not been proven yet, that hasn't even been brought out yet, that she had messed with his friend and that's the reason why he divorced her, I submit that Mr. Pisces, March 18th, was possibly doing that to her for a long time. And it does not give any validity to anybody doing that to somebody else. Cheating never makes it good. Two being wrong don't make it right. But my point is, Miss Ma'am, that if the man did not have a divorce decree stamped by a judge showing you the date that the man was done, then he was not to be tampered with. Because all men and all women who are cheating on their spouse, even while they're going through a divorce, are going to tell you what they think they need to tell you in order to get below your waist and above your kneecaps. Now, I'm done. Let me go head on and come on back to something else. Let me just finish because I already know that's the truth right there. And that could take you out the whole scenario, sister girl. Okay? A dude gonna tell you whatever he can tell you, and a chick, sir, gonna tell you whatever she can tell you to make sure that she get below your navel and above your kneecap if that's the goal.
But yet my God does what he always does. He brought a message to me. He knew this child needed reminding. So I want to talk to you today about what it's required to be a soldier in this warfare. And that's what it is. Warfare to shift the cultural climate. I must reveal to you a secret though. Oh, wait for it, they want to know. The journey is ugly. The journey is painful. The journey is full of pitfalls. But if you are one of his children, you must answer the purpose. You must answer the call. Y'all don't hear me. You must answer the mandate. The question becomes, are you qualified? And it really comes down to this. How much are you personally willing to sacrifice for the greater good and his purpose? How much? I want you to really sit and think about that question. How much are you willing to sacrifice for God's purpose?
This don't have nothing to do with God's purpose. This has everything to do with you sauntering into a church, knowing that our people do not read nothing. We don't dig in nothing. All we do is listen to sound bites and run around and start repeating them right now on Instagram. There's all kinds of people talking about, I don't need no man. And he just got through saying that a woman couldn't do nothing for him but make him a sandwich. And you don't know that these people have no clue that you're saying those statements as it relates to where were the receipts for the money you allege to have paid him back that would now establish the fact that it was not quid pro quo, that you did not say, let's go out and you, here go the money, here, I'm going to take you out and you keep giving me the nookie. These folks are not going to dig. All they're going to do is listen to you. She came to our church and she told us that she wasn't doing nothing wrong and that it was just because they were black. No, it was because of the fact that you guys stood back and said, we never had a relationship. And then you came back and you said you did. So which time were you lying? Were you lying when you said that you weren't having a relationship? Or are you lying now when you say you did have a relationship? Which time were you lying? It has everything to do with the fact that you guys said that he paid for it, but you reimbursed it and you don't have any paper trails. Listen, you're so stupid that you perjured yourself, not only in the court, because even if the court decides to let this here go, you still gonna have to answer to somebody if somebody got some good sense. Come on, y'all. If the IRS got any good sense, they're gonna jack her up, but they not. If the IRS had any good sense, they're gonna jack him up. Yo, you said that you received XYZ. Secretary of State, somebody need to jack him up because you had your LLP out here making money so you can get points for flying around all over the world, going from pillar to port. And you say she paid you back. Well, then that means you must have taken a loan from your business. And if you took a loan from your business, where's a promissory note from you to your business saying you was going to pay it back? And if you did pay it back, where's that? Do you see all they had to do was just be honest? Yeah, we was doing it. Well, come on, we're going to let somebody else take over the case because to us, the more important thing is to get Trump, if that's the goal. But you see, the people who put them up to this had no idea that they had gotten in touch with some folks who was pretty unsurly. They didn't even know. They didn't even know. Matter of fact, like I said earlier, his alleged attorney that had the alleged attorney privilege did not even know that he had signed documents last year after he stopped being his attorney. So these people that's in this church, they ain't trying to do nothing but go to the church the next week. They ain't trying to do nothing but set their Bible on the end table when they come in, take off their shoes, and they Sunday go to meeting suit, get in the shower, open up their Budweiser, and watch the evening news after that service right there. Them people are not digging into nothing else. They're going to watch the reruns of Murder, She Wrote, of Matlock, okay? That's all they're going to do. They're not digging, but you sit up here lying and you're putting it all on God. Let's go ahead.
Confess to you, as a little girl, I really did not think that Dr. Martin Luther King's dream would still be just a work in progress. I thought by 2024, as a 52-year-old woman, that certainly us humans would have gotten it together, that the cultural shift would have already taken place. I thought by now, well, we would all just be getting along. Boy, was I wrong. Now, right now, as much as any time in history, we need a cultural shift. As Americans have normalized, some of y'all say that with me, Americans have normalized. They've normalized cruelty. They've normalized bigotry. They've normalized hate. Many of our youth and adults have no respect for authority. See, they criticize me for who my earthly father is and my heavenly one. Let me tell you about this earthly daddy of mine. See, my father is one of the few Americans living who was actually able to meet and spend time with Dr. Martin Luther King. He's an older man now. Don't tell him I said it, y'all. And he's told me often, you see how now you look around and on every corner they have Dr. Martin Luther King's picture. And anywhere you go, they are celebrating Dr. King. He said, well, that's not how it was when he was here. Oh, we're going to tell the truth this morning.
Oh, finally, she elects to tell the truth. Listen, you guys, let me go ahead and read the rest of this as she is trying to tell the truth, all right? Here is my point to what it is that she's doing. Because even after this is long gone, you're going to have this mass stupidity because Black women, white women, green women, orange women, yes, green women from Mars, all kinds of women are going to be looking at this and they're going to be using it to their advantage. And when all they need to do is dust themselves off and let all that go. Kamina Pinder, a law professor at Emory University, told the outlet that she knows Black women face unique challenges when holding positions of power. Quote, everything she does is going to be scrutinized. So for her to do this is just bizarre. As a Black woman, I know there are unique challenges when you're in a position of power, but that doesn't excuse your behavior. That was dubious and unethical. You are absolutely right, Kamina, but you're absolutely right on the other hand as well. And that is, they're going to be using this to help them whenever they come into an issue. Let's not forget the emails that were sent from the office of Stephen Sadow not long ago to her and her assistant, asking both she and Fani, can we please get a response? We haven't gotten a response. Please, in all caps, please respond to the email that they had sent requesting certain things. She says, oh, well, we know you ain't going off on us because we Black women ain't responding to you. I'm tired of this, and I'm going to tell you something. The time is up for that excuse. The time is up. The gig is up. Because the only people that are going to agree with any of that are the individuals who are not going to vote for you anyway. You're going to have all the city girls that twerk and dance and thought on dudes and all that other stuff. They're going to all be running around repeating everything it is that you say. But because you, madam, a district attorney who should have been walking with the utmost integrity, allowed your slip to be shown. And as our friend here showed, your dress to be worn backwards and to be sleeping with somebody else's husband and to have the audacity to take that woman while she was ill and say that she was interfering with your case. All of the little evil wickedry that you did, dear, has now netted you the public embarrassment that you are going to have. And it has netted you the public embarrassment that has nothing to do with this case. Even if they allow this case to go forward, there's still going to be a bevy of individuals, a myriad of folk that will remember you and your ignorance, your rudeness, your shortness, your lies, because anybody could see that don't none of us in this day and age run around with that kind of money with a tax lien that we not going to pay. Just to your father's point that he did that. They told us to carry money. That's not a lie. That is not a lie. Our fathers did say, carry what they called mad money. Carry mad money. They would give me money when I would go out on a date, make sure I had money to make a phone call and money to pay for my own meal and money to get a taxi cab. Phone call to call my daddy to come get me. If this dude that took me out tripped out because I didn't want to put out. Okay? So what she's saying is not untrue. The problem is that today, in the day of having technology or technological money, CashApp, PayPal, Zelle, you don't walk around and hand a dude that kind of money. And then later on, you guys sit there together and figure out a way to say that you paid him in cash. And with you saying that, you purchase yourself even further. So now do you see that this situation is not just what they started it out to be because of dishonesty. It is now something that it never should have been. Had she used her mind and her head for more than a hat rack or a wig stand. Let's continue and then we're done.
See, when Dr. King was here, I've seen him very hurt. My father's revealed to me he's seen him in moments where Dr. King was saddened. He was saddened because people were cruel to him, unsupportive. Even some people he thought were naturally in his camp. He told me that there were those that were jealous. And he really took a lot of abuse. He says Dr. King was a great man, a prophet, he calls him. He said he was filled with good and kindness, and the only thing he wanted to do was make the world a more equitable place. He said Dr. King was not a perfect man, but he was a great man, willing to answer God's call. You all, this week at one point, because they told me I gotta be honest with y'all, I became so in need of my source. I stopped, and to tap in, I penned a letter to my Heavenly Father. I desperately needed to tap in to that one source. See, God knows my heart, my joys, my pains, my sins, my flaws. I am one of, so he must get me together often. I'm telling the truth this morning. But see, in my life, I have experienced things that have taught me Jesus is the only source I can only rely on every time and all the time. I wondered if it was okay with you to share this letter I wrote this week to my God. But you are warned, it ain't the prettiest journey. And me and my God, we talk like regular folk. Dear Father in heaven, 4 years ago, you sent a godly woman to see me. She was different from me in so many ways. She was married to a wonderful man in law enforcement while I was out here real single, y'all. She was a mother. She was not yet a mother at the time, and I was raising two 20-year-olds, and I did say still raising. She was a different race than mine, and she was a Republican while I was a Democrat. Our commonality was we were both God-fearing women.
I'm sorry. I can't take anymore. I'm going to give you the link because I don't want to hear any more of this garbage. There's the link for those of you who want it later. I am going to come off the screen and I'm going to let you guys listen because to me, this is a bunch of garbage. Garbage, I tell you. Lay garbage.
God, she's much further in her journey than me with Christ. She explained to me, God, that you had spoken to her and told her to seek me out, and so she did. She said you had seen my heart, and you, Father, knew how I loved this county and my community. She provided me with the Bible and encouraged me to commit to reading it often. She said you revealed to her that if I had promised to work hard, follow you, root out corruption at every level, you would give me the position of leadership I sought. I had no idea what her words meant. But in this beautiful lady, I saw Christ. So I knew I was just going to obey. I don't think either of us at the time had an idea what I would inherit or gain as I became the DA. Lord, even right now.
Boy, what an actor.
I continue to feel unworthy of the honor. A divorced single mom who doesn't belong to the right social groups, doesn't necessarily come from the right family, doesn't have the right
joy.
pedigree. The assignment was just too high for lowly me. All I brought to the table, God, is my mind, my heart, my work ethic, my undying love for people and the community. Lord, you know my history. I'm still carrying childhood hurts. I struggled the entire time I raised my children. You remember when he left? and it was just me and these two little girls figuring out how to get.
You say you didn't need a brother.
God did not seem to care.
You undoubtedly ran him out.
List of shortcomings. He was not interested in my fear. So I obeyed. To be honored as the first DA, and who was a woman. Y'all hear me on that. Not a woman of color, just a woman. Will always be. God, you gotta be kidding. 7 of the highest profile cases in the United States gonna land right here? Nah, please make it stop. God, you forgot to mention that my life and the life of my family would be threatened so regularly. I now think it's not normal if I don't have 2 death threats a week.
Speechless. How illegal was that to take the facts or the poignant pieces that she had been dealing with in this case and drag it to the Greater Emmanuel Baptist Episcopal African American Methodist Church of God in Christ Church of God, where the Reverend Dr. E. Bishop Porkchop presides as the prelate? I'm done. I can't take any more. That's it. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is whether or not they continue with this or they continue to allow her, it has been enough time to distract us from all the stuff that's really going on. All the stuff that's really going on, and that's the sad piece, is that all, as I said it yesterday, all while they're doing this, we're being taken advantage of by our own people. We're having individuals come in from all places on the earth. I mean, just everywhere. Everybody's having trouble everywhere, and they're all coming here under the guise of asylum. We're dealing with that. We're dealing with the money, and we're dealing with all different types of new tax laws and things that will affect us every single day. We've got movies being produced by the likes of Obama and his wife, executive produced, which means they laid out the money, called what is it called, you guys? What's the name of the movie? Not Get Out, but something to the effect of Leave the Earth Now. What is that movie? You guys know what I'm talking about. So we've got all that kind of stuff, but little subtle stories about people wanting to go live underground. We've got people out in Hawaii now building underground bunkers. That's the guy from Facebook. We've got even rappers now building underground. Wouldn't it be funny if the problem happened underground and every single one of them was underground when what they thought was going to affect us above ground happened? I'm going to leave that right there. Leave the world behind. Thank you, Anna. Leave the world behind. Up north of the 49th, Joey Trujillo, Black Spring with Autumn. Hey, Princess. Leave the world behind. But wouldn't it be funny if the collapse happened underground and we all up here? I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for the past 2 hours while we did a sort of a recap of the week. While we looked at the Dolton situation, we looked at the Fani Willises of the world. We looked at the mayor the former mayor of Houston, who's now out of there. We looked at the other Black gal who's out of there. We looked at the white gal out in Fulton. The one common denominator between all of these individuals is that none of them used the opportunity to think. None of them used the opportunity to think. None of them used the opportunity to have anybody around them that could give them wise counsel, and then they took it. None of them. None of them. None of us know exactly how this is going to end up, but I do know that no matter which direction it goes, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to either be happy, sad, misunderstood, or have misinformation behind the whole thing. And still, you still got the racketeering charges against Trump. Even though Michael Roman brought all this together, don't forget, that's what this is still about. Just a big, gigantic ball of confusion. I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out with me tonight. If you're not done so, before we pull out, please remember to hit the like button. Thank you all who have joined over on the Lockhart Perspective, because you are helping the channel grow. And honestly, because that's my namesake, it's allowing me to actually come back and just do me and be me. And that's what I love. Unfortunately, because my good friend passed on, I am not able to really just be me. You know what I mean? Because everybody over there on headlines, I love them so dearly. I love each and every one of you guys to the moon and back. But over here, this is where I can be me, because I don't want to throw you guys off over there. But I just want to thank all of you guys for joining the channels, both headlines as well as Lockhart Perspective. What I love about the people over on headlines is you can't pull nothing over on them, baby. You can't pull nothing over on them or the Lockhart Perspective, because all of you guys are intelligent. You're wise. You send me emails. You give me your wisdom. You give me your knowledge. And I love everybody for that. So I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart right now. Let me give you your flowers right now and tell you thank you. For everyone who is a subscriber to Headlines with a Voice, and everyone who is a subscriber to the Lockhart Perspective. And if you're dual subscribers, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The past couple of years have been really hard without my friend. Really, really hard without her. Really hard. And I want to thank you guys for welcoming me in and letting us do what we do. So, for everybody out there who's watching us, I want to thank you again for being here. Remember to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of you, trust and believe, ain't nobody else going to do it, baby. Ain't nobody else going to take care of you. And if we see each other again really soon, I want to check on you. And I want you to make sure that you've taken care of my friend. And my friend is you. Take care. Peace. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart Perspective.
I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe.